Do you know which cheeses you should never buy from the grocery store? Now, I know we all love a good cheese, but when you're in a grocery store, there are a few kinds you really ought to steer clear of. It's not just about taste or price. It's about health, safety, and even environmental concerns. As someone who's always thinking about being prepared, whether it's for a weekend camping or for some unforeseen future scenario, I've learned that not all cheeses are created equal. Some of these cheeses you see on the shelves, well, they might look tempting, but they're hiding a few secrets that you should be aware of. In today's video, we uncover 6 specific types of cheese that, honestly, you're better off avoiding. This isn't about being picky, it's about making informed choices that are best for your health, safety, and the environment. Plus, when it comes to stocking up or planning your food storage, these insights are crucial. You want foods that are safe, nutritious, and sustainable, right? So let's get into the nitty-gritty of these cheeses and why they might not be the best picks from your grocery store shelves. Number 1. American cheese. American cheese is an interesting one. It's found its way into so many kitchens and has become a favorite for its creamy, melt-in-your-mouth texture, especially on burgers. But let's dive a little deeper. This cheese, or should I say cheese product, isn't really cheese in the way that most of us think about it. When you peel off that slice, you might be expecting cheese, but what you're getting is a mix laden with additives, preservatives, and even artificial colors. It's a little like expecting a fresh fruit smoothie and finding out it's mostly just artificial flavors and colors. If you're trying to keep your diet on the natural side or reduce processed foods, American cheese might just be one of the first things you'd want to reconsider. It's not bursting with nutrition, and honestly, in a pinch or an emergency scenario where you need sustenance, it's probably not going to be the top contender in your food stash. Sure, it melts beautifully, but with its high additive content, it might not be the wholesome choice many of us are aiming for these days. Number 2, queso fresco. Oh, queso fresco. It's such a beloved part of Mexican cuisine, known for its fresh and crumbly texture, but there's a bit of a downside to it. The problem with queso fresco lies in its susceptibility to listeria contamination. This is a real issue, not just for homemade batches, but also for those you find in stores. Listeria is a type of bacteria that can cause some pretty severe food poisoning. And sadly, queso fresco has been linked to a number of these unfortunate incidents. You might think you're in the clear if you pick up a pack of queso fresco that looks perfectly safe and fresh. However, the tricky part is that this cheese can pick up harmful bacteria quite easily, either from your kitchen counter, utensils, or even from the fridge. It's surprisingly quick for a contamination to happen. The risk is significant enough that the CDC has issued specific advisories against consuming queso fresco for certain groups of people. Pregnant women, individuals with compromised immune systems, and older adults should avoid it altogether. The stakes are high. Listeria infection can be fatal and is known to cause miscarriages in pregnant women. It's one of those situations where the saying "better safe than sorry" really holds true. So while queso fresco is undeniably tasty, it's important to be aware of these risks and handle the cheese with extra care, or perhaps avoid it altogether if you fall into one of the higher risk categories. Number 3. Blue cheese. Blue cheese certainly has its fans, thanks to its unique, bold flavor that can really add a kick to dishes. However, it's a bit complicated. This cheese is known for its mold content. That's what gives it those characteristic blue or green streaks. But here's the catch. Not all molds in blue cheese are harmless or beneficial. There are some types that can cause problems, particularly for folks who have sensitivities to mold. Imagine this. You're enjoying a nice piece of blue cheese, but then you end up with an allergic reaction or even respiratory issues. This is a real possibility for those who are sensitive to mold. It's one of those cases where the cheese's strong point, its mold, can also be its downside. Given this, you really have to weigh the risks, especially if you're thinking of stocking up on it for long-term storage, or if you have any health concerns. While it's a delicacy for many, if there's even a slight chance it could make you sick, it might not be worth the gamble. Remember, with cheese, as with anything else, it's all about finding what works for your body and your health. So, while blue cheese can be a delicious treat, it's important to be mindful of these potential risks. Number 4, mascarpone. Mascarpone cheese has a reputation for being a bit of a luxury, not just because of its price tag, but also due to its rich, creamy texture. This creaminess comes from its high fat content, which is about 50%. It's this fat that makes mascarpone a fantastic choice for desserts and a great thickener in savory dishes. But as you might guess, this high fat content is also why mascarpone is often cited as a poster child for unhealthy cheeses. Here's a bit of perspective. If you indulge in just a tablespoon of mascarpone, you're consuming around 10% of your daily recommended intake of dietary cholesterol, not to mention a significant amount of fat. This is particularly concerning for those of us who are trying to keep our cholesterol levels in check. So, keeping an eye on how much mascarpone you consume is pretty important. The good news, though, is that there are some clever substitutes available. For instance, low-fat ricotta can take the place of mascarpone in many recipes, offering a similar texture with much less fat. Cream cheese and Greek yogurt are also fantastic alternatives. They can mimic the creaminess of mascarpone while cutting down on the cholesterol and fat content. Even better, you don't always have to eliminate mascarpone entirely from your recipe. By simply substituting part of the mascarpone with one of these healthier options, you can maintain the desired flavor profile while reducing the bad stuff. It's a win-win situation, especially if you're trying to enjoy your favorite dishes in a healthier way. Number 5. Roquefort. This one hails from the south of France and is known for its distinctive green mold, which is integral to its flavor and character. But similar to blue cheese, there's a catch with Roquefort. That same mold that gives it its unique taste can occasionally harbor Listeria bacteria. As you mentioned, Listeria can be pretty hazardous, especially for people who are more vulnerable to foodborne illnesses. It's a bit of a dilemma, really. On one hand, Roquefort is a cheese that's cherished by many for its bold, distinctive flavor. It truly has a personality of its own in the cheese world. But on the other, there's this underlying risk factor, particularly for certain groups like young children, the elderly, or those with weakened immune systems. In situations where you're not entirely sure about the safety, especially if you're serving it to people who might be more susceptible to foodborne illnesses, it might be wise to opt out of including Roquefort. It's all about balancing the love for a cheese's unique flavor with the priority of keeping everyone safe. After all, there are plenty of other cheeses out there that can offer delicious flavors without the same level of risk. It's a tough call for cheese enthusiasts, but sometimes safety really does need to come first. Number 6. Sheep cheese. Sheep cheese often comes up in discussions about more environmentally friendly options compared to cow's cheese, but surprisingly, it might not be the better choice in terms of environmental impact. This has a lot to do with the efficiency of sheep in producing milk and cheese. Researchers from MTT Agri-Food Research Finland conducted a study where they measured the amount of methane produced by sheep, cows, and goats. They then compared these figures to the amount of cheese produced by each type of animal. The results were pretty revealing. Sheep turned out to be the least efficient of the three. This inefficiency is crucial because it means that more resources and more emissions are involved in producing a given amount of cheese from sheep milk compared to cow or goat milk. So, if you're looking for the most eco-friendly cheese option, you might want to consider goat cheese. Goats are not only more efficient producers than sheep, but also their cheese, especially the soft varieties that haven't been aged for long, are generally better in terms of energy consumption. This makes goat cheese a more sustainable choice overall. It's an interesting perspective, isn't it? When we think about food and sustainability, there are so many factors to consider beyond just the type of animal. Efficiency of production and the overall environmental footprint of the process are key elements to keep in mind. So next time you're looking for a more eco-conscious cheese choice, goat cheese might be the way to go. Bonus cheese to avoid buying. Processed cheese spread. When it comes to convenience, cheese spreads in jars or tubes might seem like an attractive option. These are often found on the shelves next to the classic cheeses, enticing us with their easy spreadability and variety of flavors. But here's the thing. These spreads often have very little actual cheese in them. Instead, many of these products are filled with fillers, artificial flavors, and a slew of preservatives to ensure they have a long shelf life. Sure, they might taste cheesy, but that flavor is usually from the addition of artificial cheese flavors rather than the real deal. The nutrition content also takes a hit. as these spreads often have a high sodium content and trans fats, which are not heart-healthy. If you're reaching for a cheese spread, it's essential to read the ingredient list carefully. Look for products with a shorter list of ingredients and those that avoid artificial flavors and preservatives. Or better yet, consider making your own spread at home using real cheese and natural ingredients. This way, you can control what goes into it and enjoy the genuine, rich flavor of cheese without the additives. Well, that wraps up our list of cheeses to be cautious about when shopping at the grocery store. But I'm curious, which of these cheeses were you already avoiding? And which ones do you swear by? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. It helps us reach more people and share this crucial information. Thank you so much for watching our video, being with us today, and for being a part of our community. Your support means everything. Until next time, stay informed, stay safe, and most importantly, enjoy your cheese responsibly.